What is up, YouTube? So glad that you joined today. Man, I just want to get on here and talk a little bit to you about something that kind of bothers me a little bit because I see a lot of gurus coming on YouTube and talking about the most complicated types of investing. You get a lot of people that come on here and say, hey, there is this new stock that you need to invest in. Or maybe it's an old stock that you need to invest in. Maybe it's the Nvidias, the Tesla, the Facebook, Apple, Google, you name it. But what they don't often do is come on here and just say, look, there's something else that you can do. It's called index funds or mutual funds or ETFs, exchange traded funds that you can invest in that are a lot easier to do. And the main difference here is when you invest in something like Google or Apple or Tesla, any of these other stocks that you can name, Palantir, you have to watch the stock market. And if you don't watch the stock market, you might miss when things go down, and you probably should have had to exit so that you can not have to have any kind of losses with that stock. So I just want to come on here and just confess a little bit that everything that you hear on this channel is going to be different. I'll be on here talking to you about different index funds that you can get into. And the main difference is when you start to do index fund investing, it's a lot easier for you. The main thing about it is you can set it up one time and then forget about it. Which brings me to the main thing I want to highlight today is there is a family member that I had in the past. Back in 2016, he had a bunch of money inside of a 401k type of account that he had with his employer. And at the end of 2016, he changed jobs. And so he did not have access to that same 401k anymore, meaning that the money that he was earning at his new job, it was not putting any money into that old 401k from the job that he had left. So what I did is back in 2025, towards the end of the year, we were talking and I just asked him, hey, how are things going as far as your investments? And he was very, very delighted to tell me that things were going great. His new job had a 401k where they matched every 3% that he would put in. So if he put in 3%, they would add in another 3%. So it's 100% match up to 3%. But then when we started digging into the details and I asked him, hey, what about the other investments that you've had in the past? What's going on with those? He said, well, I don't know. I said, well, let's take a look at those. Let's see what we can find. And I asked him if he had access to the account from his old employer from 2016. And he said, no, I don't, but let me see what I can find. So he went through his old mail and he actually found an old statement from that old employer's 401k plan. And I'm going to show you a screenshot of that here in just a minute. But what happened next was amazing. The first thing that we saw, and I'll open it up real quick, is that the balance back in 2016 was a total of $60,000, $618.86. So $60,618.86. And that stuck out to me because that was way back in 2016. So I'm thinking to myself, man, we might have hit the jackpot on what your old 401k plan had in it, because there's no doubt in my mind that the money that was in there then is worth a whole lot more today. So we ended up working with the company that had that 401k plan and finding out that they had changed over to a new servicing company. And so he got access to the online portion of that so he could figure out exactly what the new amount was. And it was amazing. I'll put that up for you here in just a second too. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, here we go. So the total amount that he had as of the end of 2025, can you guess what it was? It was $177,709.57. And if I do a quick calculation on that, we can see exactly how much that multiplied in that number of years. Just take 177,709.57 divided by $60,618.86. And wow, it went up almost 3 times. The exact number is 2.93. Now, here's the key. The money that was invested in the 401k, the stocks and bonds that it was in, they were all of the index fund type. None of it was invested in individual stocks. So from the year of 2016 all the way up to 2025, that money grew by 3 times. And that was not because he did anything fancy. He didn't listen to some guru that was on YouTube or Facebook or WhatsApp or TikTok or Instagram telling him, hey, take this single individual stock and put some money in here and it's going to blow up by 10 times. No, he didn't do that. All he did was he put the money into the investments that the 401k plan had outlined for him. Usually you have 10, 20 different index type funds or mutual funds that are available inside of a 401k plan, and you can choose which ones you want to utilize. Some of them are more risky than others, and with great risk comes great reward. And then some of them are a little bit more safe. So those are more the bonds or the tips types of funds. Now, inside of this particular portfolio, like I said, there was no individual stocks. There was an allocation, and the allocation was as such. There was, let's go down here to the allocation, and here it is. And when it comes to the exact stocks that it was in, we had an allocation set of 70.76% that were in large cap funds, and then 18% that were in fixed funds, and then 13.06% that were in small cap funds. Now, the large cap funds and the small cap funds were investing in stock companies that are large capitalizations or small capitalizations. So you're talking from your Google to your Apple to Tesla. All of those big names are lumped into this large cap fund. And then small caps has just smaller forms of those kinds of companies. Whereas the fixed, which is a little bit different, the fixed part of this was invested in bond type securities. And these had an interest rate of about 3.0% down to 2.7%. So you see there was a mix of types of allocation here. And that's the great thing about index funds. When you buy an index fund, you're not just buying one stock. You're actually buying a bucket of stocks. And it's all based on the size of that company. And so I just want to let you know that there's more than one way to do this. If you hear a guru saying, hey, buy this particular stock or invest in this particular Bitcoin or crypto or whatever it is, just understand that there is another way. There's a much simpler way. One where you don't actually have to spend the time trying to track the stock market and keep up with what's going on. You can actually invest, set it up. You can set it up to be automatic, and then you can just forget about it. And then what you can do is maybe 9 or 10 years later, you'll look back and say, oh, wait, I only invested $60,000 in this 9 years ago, and now it's worth a total of $177,000. You can be just like my uncle was. Now, I share this with you not because we're trying to provide some financial advice to you. We're actually just trying to educate you. The goal is really to increase your financial literacy. Now, everything we talk about on this channel is all about providing you some greater financial hope. There's a lot of complexity out there, a lot of people who are saying that these things can be done, but they're putting them out there because they are difficult things to do that only they can lead you through. But what I want to do is just empower you to say that there's another way to do this. The simplest way to do this is to pick out an index fund, one that tracks the entire stock market, or perhaps the top 500 companies on the US stock market, or maybe even one that tracks just the top 200 companies on the US stock market. But the main thing is make a choice, automate it, and just keep it moving. You don't have to watch it every day. You can just watch it every year and see how it's done. And then a few years from now, you'll look back and say, that was a good decision. I didn't have to spend all the time that it takes to watch individual stocks. And instead, I was able to go about living my life, going to my favorite vacation spot, spending extra time with family, and doing other things that you enjoy, whether that's reading, biking, any kind of recreational things. So I just want to come on here and let you know that there is another way. Now, if you have any questions or any comments, any experience that you want to share, make sure to leave something in the comments. I love reading those and responding back to those. And then in addition to that, if you have a little bit more time to spend here on YouTube, there's another video that YouTube recommends that you watch, and it's right here. So make sure to take a look at that. And until next time, keep your financial hope alive. I'm here with you to support you and help you to grow and understand finances in a way that changes your future and changes your present. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.